Okay, Rick, thank you. I dragged that out a little bit, but we got it done. So I didn't get the tweet about Hunter Biden, but let's just pivot to the China piece because I think we'll have plenty to talk about there. Um, so we'll go for another 7 minutes and 40 seconds. All right, here we go. Welcome back. We're continuing a hugely important conversation with Richard Fisher. He is one of our, as I say, duty experts on matters involving China's military modernization, but he's also deeply knowledgeable about other contributors to instability and threats to our country, including those emanating from Russia. Rick, you've just laid out a very frightening scenario about what the Russians might do to punish us and demonstrate that they can, well, kick us in the teeth, I guess one might say, with impunity, not with nuclear weapons, but with the destruction of our space station. There's another nation that is an interest in space stations and a whole lot of other things in the moon and cislunar space. And that would be communist China. Uh, Again, you've deeply studied what the Chinese have in mind. Give us sort of an overview of what that looks like, and then we'll talk about what the Russians might do to help them achieve their ambitions in the high frontier.
Well, like the Russians, the Chinese, which have who have based their early space program at least on Russian technology, have taken many lessons from the Russians, not the least of which is that anything that they do in space must support strategic and military ambitions on Earth. And so the Chinese have fashioned a dual use manned and unmanned space program. Everything that they put into space that they build can support their military ambitions on Earth, which is essentially to achieve hegemony on Earth, to subordinate all other nations. And the Chinese have demonstrated uh, fairly frequently over the last decade that they also understand that dominance of outer space is absolutely necessary in order to achieve hegemony on Earth. Hegemony in space must support hegemony on Earth. So for China,
And what does that look like in terms of hegemony in space as the Chinese see it?
well, hegemony in space, first and foremost, requires control of the Earth Moon system. It requires control of the moon, the Lagrangian points or points of equal gravitational balance around the Earth and the moon, and it requires control of access to Mars and eventual dominance of Mars. And for that matter, as technology allows mankind to go farther into our solar system, to Jupiter and beyond, China will want to be in the dominant position on the moons of Jupiter, in the choice asteroids that yield the best minerals, and on and onward. And China is working right now to achieve dominance on the moon. The United States may actually return to the moon first during this decade, but starting at about 2030, the Chinese are going to launch a blitzkrieg to try to take first the most advantageous strategic positions on the moon, to try to secure the most advantageous points of water and mineral resources, and then go on from there. The United States and China are today in a race to dominate the moon, although it's it's not clear to what degree the Biden administration understands that fact.
Yeah, or even supports it. Honestly, the question I guess I have, and I'm heartened to hear you say we might actually get back there first. The Chinese seemingly are bending every effort to, as you say, put themselves in a position to colonize the place. But Is there any sign that the United States has a similar goal in mind, that we would actually not simply return and explore and all of that, but we would establish a permanent presence that would be designed to try to exclude what the Chinese have in mind for the place?
Well, the United States, over the Trump and the Biden administration, has tried to portray its lunar programs as peaceful, not seeking confrontation, trying to enlist as many international partners as possible. The Artemis program, I think, now has up to 12 partners. That's pretty good. The Chinese only have one partner, Russia, but that's a very powerful partner in terms of space technology and the ability to help the Chinese stay ahead of the United States.
Right. And in keeping with what you just said about, really the Russians now deciding that they're going to separate from us, literally in the case of the space station, but more generally in this cooperative venture of international space. What does that mean for the Chinese? What benefits will accrue to them, especially in terms of advancing this domination agenda?
Well, in almost any area of space endeavor, uh, the Russians are just advanced. They're cutting edge. Eh, uh, But what they lack is the money to fund follow through programs. But whether it's nuclear space propulsion, advanced habitats on the moon or Mars, or heavy lift space launch vehicles, the Russians can make them for you if you pay them, and they can make very effective products. So the Chinese want to maintain an independent capability in all these areas, but as they've proven in their military modernization program, they are more than willing and able to purchase Russian technology to incorporate and accelerate their own developments.
This is a subject to which we're going to return with you soon, Rick. I think it's so vital that we understand the implications for what happens here on Earth of what's going on in the heavens. We appreciate your expertise tremendously and your time with us today. Godspeed, my friend.